to BIO-CHEM Physics Academy. Let's solve this question, other atoms. This question is so simple. This is JAMB level question. The question says, an element Z form an anion Z raised to power 3 plus, and the anion has 10 electrons. Find the numbers of electrons in a neutral atom Z. B. Determine the atomic number Z. C. Write the species or symbol of Z if its mass number is 27. In this case, the first thing here is that an atom, whenever an atom is losing an electron, whenever an atom lost an electron, the atoms will become positively charged. Whenever an atom is giving out an electron or lost an electron, the atoms will become positively charged. But whenever an atom gains an electron, the atoms will become what? Negative charge, which is anion. But when it lost an electron, it will become positively charged, which is cation. In this case, these atoms give out 3 electrons. An element Z form an anion, which is what? 3 plus. So in this case, these particular atoms give out 3 electrons in order to become positively charged. So, and the question now says the anion has 10 electrons. When the atoms form an anion, the anion has what? Has 10 electrons. And the first question says, find the numbers of electrons in a neutral atoms. It says find the numbers of electrons. That is, you should find the numbers of electron when the atom has not become anion. So in that case, okay, before solving this question, let me use sodium as an example. Sodium has atomic number 11. Sodium has atomic number what? Number 11. In terms of this, in this case, this is what? This is sodium atoms. This is an atom, sodium atom. This atom has not become anion. In this case, the numbers of protons, when it comes to atoms, atom is electrically neutral. Yes, atoms is electrically neutral because the numbers of protons is equal to the what? The numbers of electrons. Because the numbers of proton is equal to the numbers of electron. In this case, the sodium has atomic number 11, and atomic number is the numbers of proton present in an atomic nucleus of an element. Atoms is what? Is numbers of proton present in an atomic nucleus of an element. In this case, the sodium has atomic number 11. That shows atomic number is still the same thing as what? As number of proton, and it's still the same thing as what? As number of what? Of electron in terms of what? Neutral atoms. So in this case, our numbers of proton here is also 11, and our numbers of what? Of electron here is also what? Is also 11. Now for sodium, in this case, this sodium atom is still unstable. Yes, in order for this atom to achieve stability, it needs to give out what? 1 electron in order to become positively charged. So in this case, when these atoms give out 1 electron in order to become positively charged, the atoms will become anion. So that's why atoms become anion in order to achieve stability. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is that in order for the what? For the atom's shell of that particular atom to be what? To be completely filled. So in this case now, if sodium has to become anion, if sodium has to become anion, sodium needs to what? Give out 1 electron, which should be what? Na plus electron. In this case, sodium has becomes what? anion. So in this kind of anion, the numbers of electron here, the numbers of electron in this particular atoms is what? Is 10. Because sodium has what? Has lost one electron. Because yes, the numbers of electron in this particular in this anion, because sodium has formed anion in this case, sodium has formed anion. So the numbers of what? Of electron in this particular anion is what? Is 10. But in a neutral atom, the numbers of electron in a neutral atom is what? Is 11. So, but in terms of anion, the numbers of what? The numbers of proton here will still remain as what? As 11. Because in terms of anion, proton always what? Greater than electron. That's the concept. The concept is that the numbers of proton in terms of anion, the numbers of what? When atoms become anion, the numbers of proton always greater than the numbers of electron. So, but in a neutral atoms, sodium in a neutral atoms, the numbers of proton is always equal to the numbers of electron. But in an anion, sodium anion is what? But in terms of anion, when the atoms becomes anion, the numbers of what? The numbers of proton is always what? Greater than the numbers of anion. In this case, sodium has what? In this case, sodium has what? Has lost one electron to becomes what? To becomes what? An anion. So let's now solve our question. An element Z form an anion of Z is for 3 plus, and the anion has 10 electrons. Find the numbers of electrons in what? In a neutral atom Z. So in a neutral atom Z, when the atom form an anion, it loses that what? 3 electrons. That's why the anion become what? Z is for 3 plus. But in the neutral atoms, but when it becomes an anion, it has 10 electrons, isn't it? So the numbers of electron. So the numbers of electron in a neutral atom, Z as an neutral atom, it will be what? The numbers of electron will be equal to what? 10 plus 3. Because the 3 that it loses out, we have to add it back, because they are asking for the numbers of what? They are asking for the numbers of electron in a neutral atom. So now which is equal to 13. So now the numbers of electron in a neutral atom is what? Is 13. Now let's quickly move to the second question. The second question says what? Determine the atomic number Z. Yes, we are told to determine what? The atomic number Z. For you to determine the atomic number Z, the first thing to do is that the atomic number is still the numbers of protons. The atomic number is still the numbers of protons present in an atomic nucleus of an element. The atomic number is still the numbers of protons present in an atomic nucleus of an element. How will you do that? The atomic number is the number of protons present in an atomic nucleus of an element. So the since atomic number is the numbers of protons present in an atomic nucleus of an element, then the atomic number remains the same as what? It's still the same as what? Because they are asking for the atomic number they are asking for the atomic number when Z is what? Is a neutral atom. So now, and we know that the atomic number is the same thing as the number of proton, and still the same thing as what? As numbers of what? Of electron. So when it comes to neutral atoms, so the atomic number here is still the same thing as what? As our atomic number here is what? Is 13. Because in a neutral atom, our numbers of protons, our atomic number is still the same thing as what? Number of protons, and it's still the same thing as what? Numbers of electrons. But when it comes to an anion, when an atom becomes an anion, when an atom becomes an anion, the numbers of what? The numbers of proton is always greater than the numbers of what? Of electron. When an atom becomes an anion, the numbers of proton in terms of cation, when the atoms become an anion, then in terms of positive charge, the cation, the numbers of proton always greater than what? The number of what? Of electron. When in terms of cation, which is what? Which is positive charge, the number of proton is always greater than the what? The numbers of what? Electron. But in terms of anion, which is negative charge, the numbers of what? The numbers of electron is what? Is always greater than the what? Is always greater than the what? The one of what? Of proton. What is cation sef? Cation is what? Cation is formed when and what? When an atom lost. When an atom lost and what? An electron. While anion is formed when an atom gains an electron. So that is for what? That is what? Anion. But when it goes to cation, the cation is formed when an atom lost electron. So now the last question now says, write the species or symbols of Z if its mass number is 27. The question says, write the species or symbol if write the species or symbol of Z if its mass number is 27. Now since we know the atomic number, the atomic numbers of what? Of Z is what? Is 13. Then the mass number is what? Is 27. So that shows aluminium is the what? Is the symbol. Is what? Is aluminium. The symbol is what? Is aluminium. Aluminium is the symbol because it has atomic numbers what? 13 and mass numbers of what? 27. That should be the what? Symbol for what? For what? For this particular atom species Z.